This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
Okay, good afternoon and welcome to the EDIC meeting for Tuesday, October 15th, 2024. Call the meeting to order. It is 4:03.
Oh, I'm the minute taker. Oops. Thank you.
Yes. I believe you all received a copy of the May minutes from Cassie. Are there any questions, additions, deletions? There are none. I would ask for a motion to accept the minutes.
So moved.
Thanks, Dave and Dave. One of you will second. The two Daves, one Dave Kutcher made the motion and Dave Del Vecchio seconded. How's that?
Agreed.
Public speak. Is there anyone out there, Gwen, who's looking to talk to us?
There is not.
Thank God. I mean, no, thanks. Before we get into the discussion with Cassie on the climate action plan, I just wanted to update you on our search for a planner. And the only good news I have is that according to Jesse, it is very, very quiet right now in the planning department. After all of the hullabaloo of the last year, with all of the developments going on, in fact, they have scheduled and canceled several meetings throughout the summer because they had nothing on the agenda. So that's actually good news while we don't have a planner. The personnel director did tell me, and I apologize, I don't remember who, but it might be Pioneer Valley Planning Commission, is actually stepping in and helping out if there are things that Dylan isn't aware of or can't handle. And we have them, I believe, through January helping us out. We had a promising candidate that ended up not working out at the 11th hour. We had another promising candidate that at the 11th hour, he was offered the position and determined that at the 11th hour that the position was probably not a good match for him. He would have reminded you all of a young Jeff Bagg. I mean, the glasses, the dark hair, he looked like Jeff Bagg. And he hasn't been a planner very long. And I think after thinking it over, he must have thought that the job was a little bit over his head. He did actually meet with the mayor, and I believe he was offered the position. So we have another interview scheduled for next Wednesday with another very promising candidate based on their resume. So keep your fingers crossed, go to church this weekend, and maybe after our interviews next week, we will have a planner. That's my update on the planning department. Again, thankfully, there's a lot of projects in process, but once they get through the planning department, it's sort of like the building department and others take over. So the planning department's not directly impacted once they're approved and on their way. So the timing is working out very well right now while we're without a planner.
Is there a building commissioner?
I believe there is. I don't know the name, Cassie, but I believe there is now a building. I shouldn't say that quickly because I know the gentleman who's helping us out. I believe, and that might still be happening. I'm sorry. I think Northampton and Southampton have both been helping us out a few hours a week, each of them. So we're sort of got a bunch of fingers in the dike when it comes to the planning department and building department. I thought I had heard that a building commissioner had been hired, but I'm not sure. Dave Butcher?
I'll just tell you from personal experience that backlog delayed my own solar project from April until August.
in getting permitted.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like that's how far back they are behind schedule.
Yeah. That's in the building department, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah. And unfortunately, that's what happens without a building inspector. I thought Northampton and Southampton were helping us out to try to keep us up to date, but obviously April to August is a bit of a stretch for a solar project.
Yeah. For a
Yeah.
2-day solar project. Yep.
Yeah. Sad.
are you turned on now, Dave?
I mean,
Are
I'm
you
sitting in my
connected?
car.
For your solar.
Your solar.
Yes, my solar was turned on. Yes.
Yay!
I mean, you teed it up for me. I had to go with it.
Yeah.
I've got $1,000 in my Eversource account right now.
Nice.
Bring on the cold weather.
Nice. All right. So again, you all should have received a proposal from Cassie on a business recognition program. And Cassie, if you want to jump into that.
You're seeing this before the folks at the Energy Advisory Council are seeing it just because of the meeting calendar. But this is just a quick and dirty proposal, which is what I thought you guys were looking for. It seemed to me the objectives were to promote the adoption of the climate action plan among businesses, and promote general community awareness of the program. And so the initiative summary is simply that recognized businesses who meet criteria would be recognized on the city website, free advertising, and receive a window decal and gift file for their promotional materials. So I started thinking about what the participation criteria were. Then I started getting complicated, thinking about numbers of stars people might receive. And then I decided not to make it at all complicated, because if you set up too many barriers, then people won't play. So basically, if you meet any of these criteria, then you would get a gold star and get your window decal and your gift file. I pulled these particular criteria out of the climate action plan. They seemed business relevant. And then it's a real straightforward implementation plan. I tried to make it complicated, but I couldn't. Basically, just putting together a communication plan. And I thought it might be cool just to directly reach out to businesses that we know meet criteria. Like River Valley's got the solar panels and everything else. The gentleman across the street from me owns Big Red Frame. He drives an electric car. I think Small Oven doesn't use plastic silverware. So I was just trying to think, as I've been around town, what I've noticed. And then I'll show you the graphics. I think. Oh, Google Meet. Wait, what am I doing? I want to show them to you. Can I share my screen?
Click, yeah, I might have to allow you. Hold on a sec. I gotta make you a co-host, I think. Now you can use the little up arrow in the box to share your screen.
Choose what to share. Share.
Looks good. We see your drive now.
Well, let me open it. That's weird. I have a different idea.
It's letting me open things. Do you want me to share?
Here we go.
Oh, there you go. Nice.
So that's the logo that the consultant developed for us. And it seems like it could be really easily modified by adding business partner right along here. I think it's actually pretty good looking. I don't know what you guys think.
Those are familiar colors. That's part of the color scheme we've seen on other wayfinding things. And
Oh,
it's got
okay.
the Coke bottle, Mount Tom profile, and a mill building and a river.
Yep.
Or a road, however you choose to see it. And what looks
I'll
like
take the
solar
river.
panels on top. This looks like 5 Ferry Street.
Yeah. Dave, did you have your hand up or was it still up from before? Dave Kutcher.
Sorry, still up from before.
Okay. Cassie, I guess the only thing I don't know if they have any rights to this logo or if they've given that over to the city. If we have the legal right to alter it by adding something, that would be my only question.
I've know those folks now, so I can check in with them about it. My understanding is that they're ours to use.
Perfect.
But we would have to, now I'm going to stop sharing, maybe, me. And then I can do this. Stop presenting. There we go. I was going to raise the issue of money because we would need money for the graphics work. We would need money for the stickers. But I'd really hate to see something as small as that, prevent us from doing this. So, and then thinking about the application process, we need to develop an application, a processing procedure. I would think just putting a Google form up on the city website. And then I tried to list the people who would need to review and approve this. And that is the end of my presentation. What do you guys think?
I personally think it's great. I wouldn't worry about the money. I wouldn't worry about the money out of the gate. I think that's small money. I'd be concerned more about getting it through the review process. Gwen?
I think you're right about the money. And I'm looking at the number of entities that might be required to review an application and going, that feels like too many.
Oh, they wouldn't review the application. They need to review the proposal.
Oh, the proposal. Oh, great. Thank God.
No.
Oh, good. Oh, whoa.
My dog could review the applications.
Yeah. And yeah, I want to know, do we have the services of the people who came up with these graphics anymore?
No.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess I'm wondering do you anticipate that it would be what's the EAC? The Easthampton
Energy Advisory?
Yeah. Is it them who would come up with promotional material? Or do you anticipate that that's multiple entities coordinating that as well?
Oh, no, not promotional material. When I wrote promotional material with the logo, that's for the businesses to use on their advertising and stuff.
Right. I'm thinking about who's going to create that material in the first place.
I think
we anticipate that that's the energy group, or okay.
Someone would need to engage a graphic artist.
Sure. Okay. And other than that, I would just add known local businesses. La Vera Cruzana, they subscribe to I think I don't know how big the program is, but they now have a program where you can give them $5 or $10, and that the first time they will give you your food in a reusable takeaway container, and then you clean that takeaway container, and the next time you show up to take your food away, you give them the ones you originally had, and they give you new ones with your food in it, and it just cycles through. That's very good.
That's cool.
Gwen, that raises another thought that that ideas like that I don't think the business would mind, but if we created a library, so to speak, of those kinds of ideas that other places might be able to employ. So Lavera Cruzana might get a star because they are reusing plastic, if you will, for takeout. But if we have a way in this process, Cassie, to not just put a sticker on their door, what have you, but sort of advertise what it is they actually did to get their sticker. Now, several other restaurants might say, hey, let's try that ourselves.
I like that.
Not just because they would get a sticker, but because it's a great idea.
We could put that on the city website with their recognition.
Yeah. Social media doesn't hurt either.
Oh, yeah.
You know, maybe through this process, a page could be created that recognizes businesses and what they did. And Gwen, I'm glad I did not realize they were doing that, because what I was going to ask was, is there a way we can at least start this out? There's some here in the criteria. Is there a way we can start this out with a little bit of low-hanging fruit, like electric vehicles and heat pumps and charging stations might be a reach for some, but are there some things? There are some here like single-use plastics and maybe composting food waste, but are there some things that make it easy for a business to actually do right away? So, you know, I don't know if a business could put in heat pumps overnight, but they could do an idea like La Veracruzana is doing and get credit for working within the criteria of this program. That makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I bet the EAC will have ideas about that.
And not that we want everybody to just jump on board with the low-hanging fruit. If they could, you know, if they work towards heat pumps or solar panels or things like that, that's great. But it's great to get a few base hits out of the program out of the gate, as opposed to all home runs.
Yeah, I agree.
Other thoughts, questions? I'm wondering, Cassie, what it is you have to actually develop here, what we have to develop here to put it, to get it through that review process. What do we have to put lipstick on the pig here, if you so to speak, or put some meat on the bones to actually make a formal presentation to these other groups for their approval? Is it just this? Is it more than this? I'm not sure.
Oh, I bet they'd want to see a draft application, an announcement,
Yep.
dollar figures on what it would cost. What else? That would probably do it, wouldn't it?
Probably. If we get, I mean, we could all, I would also like volunteer for a portion of direct outreach to businesses. Like there's some person power on sidewalks.
That would be kind of fun, wouldn't it? To call somebody and say, look what we're giving you. You need
Yes.
this.
I don't need anything from you. I'm giving you something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. So I think, I don't know. I mean, I know we're a small group here, but I don't know. I guess what I was thinking out loud, Cassie, is putting a pretty ribbon on this to be able to say to EAC, Chamber of Commerce, Planning, Mayor, if we even need the mayor, I'm not sure. Other than maybe the mayor becoming a cheerleader for this. Was she a cheerleader through the whole CAP process?
I was not aware of her presence, but we had Cassie Tragert, and she, you know, for folks that know her, you know, she was her own force.
Yeah. I'm not sure we need the mayor's approval for this.
What's the highest level? Do we need to even go to city council?
I think we potentially go to city council when it's ready with a presentation that's informative, not looking for any kind of approval, but just want
Yeah.
to let you know what EDSC's been up to, and here's the program, and, you know, not really coming out and saying it, we don't need your approval, but here's what we're ready to launch.
Yeah. Is this as easy as it seems? I mean, I know the devil's in the details, but
I think
I
it's
think it
easier
is.
than the last one we put through.
what was that?
The what was it called?
Vacant storefront?
Yeah, the vacant storefront ordinance.
Oh,
I
yeah,
mean,
that was a lot of work.
that needed all kinds of approvals. But this one, this is the equivalent of if the chamber were doing this, as opposed to the chamber, it's EDIC doing it. I think we're checking a box of something we're doing in connection with the climate action plan. And we would make a 3-minute presentation to city council, sort of FYI.
Love it.
I mean, I'll throw it out there. And if part of the concern is that it would be easier if this was kind of publicly announced as like a chamber initiative that was sparked by the EDIC, I could probably take this proposal to the chamber's board and see if the chamber wanted to take this on. I think you're right, Cassie, in that this isn't a real heavy lift. And you know, you're not looking at anything that's regulatory in nature. So I don't see where this would require a whole lot of permission if the EDIC were to do it ourselves. But if you would like me to take the proposal and inform the chamber board and get their, you know, feedback and or buy-in, I'm happy to do that for us.
Would it be better for the chamber to take this on? What do you guys think?
Well, based on your efforts and the fact, Cassie, that we're trying to check a box here on our responsibility under the climate action plan. I think Dave suggested this, if I heard it correctly, that this could come across as a joint effort.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I mean, at minimum, the chamber it'd be very easy to help trumpet the program, because I think the one risk is when you start to roll this out, and by starting kind of at that seed program with naming places like Vera Cruzana and the efforts they have, just because we are familiar with them. What you're risking is all of a sudden Johnny at Nini's and others kind of stepping forward, saying, "Hey, what about us?" And I think it's good that we would start with a few folks to recognize them, but it would really be an invitation for others to kind of self-identify the efforts that they're taking and why they would deserve a star as well, and build the list quite quickly. But I think helping articulate that to the community is definitely something the chamber could do at minimum. But if it makes sense to broaden that partnership, I'd be happy to take it to the board.
Cool.
Yeah, I think, Dave, that the chamber has the platform and the audience that we don't have, that could really jumpstart this. And I don't think there's any harm, unless you guys think there is. I don't think there's any harm in getting the chamber, informing the chamber of this program early on.
Yeah.
And tell them it's still in the development stages and should be ready to rock and roll in no time.
Excellent.
Cassie, if you have the materials to send over, I was looking through my email and I don't see that I had received any of these materials in advance. I'm actually, the reason I'm calling remote right now is I'm standing in Logan Airport about to fly away for a couple of weeks. But if you forward it over to me, I can hop on this, get it to the chamber and see if we can get it on our agenda. Probably not in October, but we can definitely, get it, part of our board meeting in November.
Let me suggest next steps. Then next week, the EAC meets, and I would want to get their input on this. I will circulate a revised draft, and then that one, Dave Delvecchio, you could take to the chamber.
That's perfect. Sounds like a plan.
And
Okay.
Cassie, Dave, when Dave said he didn't get it, do you have his correct email, the Yahoo
I
one?
thought I did, but I will take it again.
I believe it's the Yahoo one.
Correct. Yeah, that's my personal account. I did receive, you had sent I did receive the minutes from the September meeting, but I don't recall seeing anything specific to this work.
Okay. I'll just make sure and use the Yahoo address.
So just to recap, Cassie will bring this to the next EAC meeting. And then following that, getting their buy-in, at least conceptually, Dave will take it to the chamber board and review it with the chamber. And then I guess we'd want to be able to say that this is a joint effort with EDIC and the chamber. And then Cassie, you said something about what you were going to do with this, redo this or something.
I'm supposed to fill in all the details for presentation purposes.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. And then once we've ironed out all the details, we can and those, the chamber, planning department, whomever, we could then just make sort of an informative presentation to the city council, even during public speak.
Oh yeah.
Don't even need an appointment, walk in.
I'm really liking how easy this is. I think we could wrap this puppy up by March. What do you guys think? That might even be late.
Yeah, it's nice
I
to be
agree.
a cheerleader.
I agree.
No, not vegan storefronts. I like having a project, so this is fun.
Great work, Cassie. Thank you so much for putting this together. It's great. Great. Anything else on this subject, or this was really the only item on the agenda? Without the planning department lighting fires, we don't have a lot of stuff going on ourselves, but this is a great initiative, grassroots initiative, if you will, out of the Climate Action Plan and subsequently out of EDIC and the chamber. Great collaboration, feels like.
Yeah.
Gwen.
David Kutcher forwarded to me last night, and I have not had a chance to read it, a Washington Post article about EV charging stations. David, do you have a takeaway to share about that? Because that brings up a thread that we've had coming up for several months.
Sure. So Washington Post, I think it was yesterday or the day before, there was a study that was done that showed that EV chargers within the effect of EV chargers to surrounding businesses, and that businesses within 300 feet of an EV charger saw a 3% increase in revenue once the EV charger was put in. I don't know why someone's honking here, but now they're breaking into a minivan. But yeah, so the idea being that simply having a charger put in nearby, and it doesn't have to be tied to a business specifically like the co-op one, but having more of them in a downtown area actually causes a kind of like a loss leader effect, like what you have at gas stations, where they might not be making a profit off of having the EV charger there, but all the surrounding businesses are seeing an increase in revenue. Now, it doesn't necessarily encourage businesses to put them in, because, like I said, it's a loss leader. But the idea being that if the city did or the chamber did, that it might be an interesting initiative to help out surrounding businesses. If you are an electric car driver in Easthampton, I believe, there's the ones down at 50 Payson, but then I can't tell you where any others are until you get to the Ferry Street roundabout.
Right. And what about the ones?
Yeah, they have them behind the mill buildings by abandoned building. So some people have access to them during like Food Truck Friday.
I think those are private ones, aren't they?
No, we put them in as the city.
Okay. So then, yeah, but even then, like you have the whole strip of Union Street to Main Street, and there's nothing there.
Yeah, it's too true. That was a real, we were on a real kick there for a while. It was something that was coming up a lot, and it hasn't come up in a couple of years.
Dave, one thing you said there though, why wouldn't it be an incentive for a business to put it in, as you said, as a lot? So Big E's, for example, if Big E's took 2 parking spaces and put in EV chargers, why wouldn't that necessarily be an incentive for them to potentially benefit from that 3% increase?
Right. So there in the study, I believe it said that businesses where the person is expected to spend an hour or more, so it does make sense in grocery stores to do it.
Right.
But for other businesses that it's like a 15 to 20 minute shop, it doesn't have any benefit for them. It
Right.
has the secondary benefit if someone else does it, then everyone else will see the benefit.
Right.
So
And-
like,
and- Go
yeah,
ahead.
that's where it'll come in. Like if the city did it and put in more chargers throughout the city, or the chamber sponsored them and put them throughout the city, there would be a net increase in revenue.
Okay.
But yeah, without it being like destination shopping places like a grocery store, it doesn't make sense.
Of course, if it was a Big E's, some of the surrounding businesses, based on that study, should also benefit.
Correct.
Would the new library location be a place for consideration?
I mean,
Yeah.
if it were me, I would put them on that strip between, what is it, ESB and the bank and the old bank.
Right, that's where the library is going, Dave.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
So like that would be an ideal location because you're not holding up Main Street,
Right.
but at the same time, there would be EV charging.
Hmm.
It's part of it goes into like the planning of downtown and how and where the shopping is,
Right.
like where the foot traffic is and whether or not it's actually encouraging the foot traffic.
Yeah, part of the problem that comes to mind right away on Union Street is where, because Union Street is just so, what's the word I want?
Right. But if you bookended it, right, where you have 50 Payson and then at the other end of Union Street, you have, let's call it the ESB street, whatever that street is. Like your coverage area then would be, no matter where you are, you're 300 feet from a charger.
Right. And the other end of Cottage Street, maybe something would happen with the development of the former school.
Yeah. Or even putting 2 in where there's that small parking space.
Right.
Hmm.
Interesting. Is there a way that article could be circulated more locally?
To whom?
Do we have, do you have the rights to share that on Facebook?
Yeah, I mean, I can share it. I can see if I found the original, the research paper, but I have to find it again.
Because it'd be interesting if one of our local outlets would pick up that article.
I don't have those connections.
Right,
But-
right. Yeah, if you find the article, Dave, send it to me, and maybe, I don't want to put Dave Delvecchio on the spot, but send it to Dave too. There might be folks there that do have those connections. I could try
Okay.
to do it through the bank and their connections with the press.
Yeah, I mean, Colleen McGrath, who works at the Gazette, is on the chamber board as well. So I can pass it along to her, and I can also shoot it down to George O'Brien at Business West. They're always looking for content to highlight, and so it might be something they'd be interested in doing. Maybe a research study on various towns throughout Western Mass that have maybe embraced charging stations, and maybe do a little bit of a research project to see the impact it's had in those locations, just to further the discussion.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought it was really interesting, the 300 feet aspect of it and 3% increase in revenues. But then also, like I said, thinking about downtown, like where those 300 feet overlaps would be.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Interesting. Yeah, if you can get that article, Dave, to Dave and myself,
Sure.
we can run with it a little bit through contacts.
You got it.
And I don't mind even approaching the bank to see if they're interested in putting in one or two. You know, they've got even up on Northampton Street, they've got a ton of parking spaces that aren't used any longer. You know, if there was any silver lining to COVID, it was that businesses have discovered that there are people that can definitely do fine working from home on a long-term basis. So
Sure.
the bank has more parking spaces.
Oh, I was wondering where you were going with that.
Great. If you can find that article, Dave, please share it.
Yep. I'm sending it to you guys now.
Thank you. Anything else? That's a great lead, Dave. Thank you. Anything else? Our next meeting is a couple of days before Thanksgiving. How does everybody feel about that?
That's fine for me.
It's fine here.
I don't do any cooking in my household, so it works for me.
I roasted my pumpkins yesterday.
There you go. Okay, if there's nothing else, anything else? Last call? I would entertain. What's that, Dave?
Nope, all good.
I would entertain a motion to adjourn so Dave DeVecchio can get on the plane. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Thanks, Dave. Is there a
Second
second?
the motion.
Thanks, Gwen. All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank
Aye.
you all very much. Thank you.
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.